is Sunday, March 2nd, and this is episode number 66 of Hollis Hands Create. My name is Christine, and I welcome everyone who has joined me. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate the love that you're showing my channel, the questions, the comments. If you are new and you've just wandered in here by accident, I hope you'll stay and maybe find something that will inspire you. My channel is primarily about cross stitch and maybe some other crafty endeavors, but primarily cross stitch. And you might recognize Hollis Hands Create as also the name of my shop. I have a shop on Etsy and I sell cross stitch supplies. Let's dive right in. This is a busy week for me. It's been busy actually for the last couple of weeks as we prepare for the needlework market, wholesale market that happens in Nashville every year and on the first weekend in March. And we are getting prepared. So I'm gonna kind of dive right in. On today's agenda, we have whips and finishes, a few past St. Patty's Day type finishes, just a couple of purchases I wanted to share. We have a giveaway that everybody seemed to respond to quite a bit, and we have, let's see, I'm going to share some market faves and some plans for sharing and shopping. And I have one question that I kind of wanted to not just respond to in the comments, but actually respond on the channel. So with that being said, let's dive right in. The question, I'll go over the question first. Each year for the last 5 years, I believe, 5 years, I have picked a design, and for the first 4 years, it was one of the Rhode Island style samplers from Plum Street Samplers that are historical in nature. And I start them on Memorial Day and with the goal to finish by Labor Day. So it gives me, roughly 3 months to stitch one of those designs. Last year, I was ahead of Paulette, and so in her releases of those types of samplers, and so I picked a different one, which was Liberty's Welcome, also by Plum Street. So I've had some questions asking me, what am I going to pick this year? Paulette did come out with a new Rhode Island style sampler this past fall, which was the Salem sampler, and it focuses on the witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts. I don't think I'm going to stitch that one. There was another design that came out that when the book came out, I really loved this whole book, and it's Hello America from Teresa Kogut. Just has some beautiful designs, and in looking through this book, I've seen a couple that I really love, and so I've pulled it out and set it aside as one to consider. And the one I'm considering is the one on the front, which is called the 1776 sampler. Let me put it up close for you. So right now, this is my number one consideration. And let me look, I was gonna give you dimensions. So this one is 225 by 253. I consider that to be medium to large, medium bordering on large, a small, larger sampler. It does only have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 threads in it, 11 thread colors. So that's good. That means there's not a lot of confetti type thing, not a lot of switching. Looks like you can get started, in several of the areas and really do tons of tons of fill-in type stitching, like, you know, the body here, even your stripes on your flags, you can just, you know, go back and forth, filling in the house, filling in the grass. So this is a #1 contender right now. And I actually pulled some, this is the new Red Dirt Road linen from Needle Bling. So I pulled some 40 count of that, and I'm going to pull some threads and take a look and see what I think. So that's #1. There is another one from Paulette from Plum Street that is called Summer Delivery, and I really love that one too, and I haven't stitched it, and I have it pulled aside, but I don't know. I'm kind of really loving this 1776 sampler. So I also really love her Pledge of Allegiance that's in this book too, but I think the 1776 sampler is what's really, you know, calling to me at this moment. Now, when push comes to shove and we get down to, you know, the beginning of May, we'll see, because the designers will have also started releasing some more patriotic types of designs. And so you never know, something else may, you know, catch my eye. So anyway, just thought I would let you know, because, you know, it's time to kind of start thinking about that. March is going to fly by. April is also going to fly by. I have a knee surgery, a knee replacement scheduled in the middle of April. So, you know, once we get through, especially the first couple of weeks where I'm not going to be, you know, ambulatory outside of the house for the most part, other than maybe the second week starting to go outside for physical therapy, you know, I'm going to be kind of stuck. So, we'll see what happens. Next thing you know, that'll be beginning of May, time to make my decision. So I hope you'll join me if you would like to. Last year, I was asked to name the stitch along, and so I passed that buck to my son Adam, who works with me, and he came up with Hollis's Summer Holiday Sal, because we start Memorial Day, go through 4th of July, and end at Labor Day. So it is kind of the summer holidays. So Hollis's Summer Holiday Sal. So if you want to join, or if you did join this last year and maybe you need to finish that whip, and you want to finish it up this year, that's great too. No rules, no pressure, just having fun. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. I'm going to, I pulled out my trusty book of days to see what I did this month, because, you know, you never know. Could have been something totally different. And the first thing that I did, starting on February 1st, was I pulled out my whip of Rejoice Always, which was by Lottie Da. And let me see. Oh, yes, here. Sorry, I did have there's the chart. Here's the design. Rejoice Always from Lottie Da. Saw this at market on the wall last year, and you know, it's one of those cases where when you see the model, you see the finished product versus the chart picture, it's crazy how different that is. And so anyway, we decided to stitch this, and so I started it. I got it back out on the 1st, and 5 days, so I finished it on the 5th. So she's all done. I'm extremely happy. It's stitched on 40 count Butterscotch Baby from Wabi Sabi. This design only calls for 4 threads, and I don't know if you're seeing that color very well or not, but there's actually, the little buds have some really beautiful color in them, and it's really difficult to get that. I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyway, all finished. So that is a whip that is done, and I'm very happy to have that off of my list. Now I need to into the framing pile. Let's see. The next thing that I worked on was my, looks like well, you know what? I'm going to jump a little forward, a little out of order from the way that I stitched. I'm trying to continue to stitch smalls. And so I went to my February bag of smalls, things that I have kitted already, or charts that I've got pulled that I want to have a small done, so that it's easy for me to go grab one. And I'm trying to do at least one, maybe two a month if I can. And for this month, there was a freebie, which I'll just hold back here. It was called Always. And it's a free design from Cecilia Turner. So you can get this from her. She came out with this in 2020, and I believe it's on her heartandhand.com website. Even though it's a freebie, she wants you to go there. It cannot be copied or shared on the internet. So, but again, it's called Always. And here, and here is my finish. It's just a sweet little quickie that you can do. And I stitched this on Ice Rose, which was a 40 count linen from number 12 Stitch Co. And I used a couple of my own colors and then picked a couple of or used a couple of Cecilia's colors and then picked a couple of my own. So this one is really tiny. So I've been kind of looking at some things, and I've pulled a couple of fabrics that I think that, you know, maybe I want to use to finish it. I'm not sure if I'm going to just do a little quick board or if I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger and do just a quick little pillow roll or something. I'm not sure. So I'm trying to decide, but that was my little small for February that I finished. I'm happy to get that one done. So next year I'll have another little thing to pull out from my Valentine bowl. Okay. What do I do every day? Every day, or almost every day, this is my one thread day, and it is Paradigm Found from Long Dog Samplers. And if you've watched my channel before, you've seen me show this. This was, you know, started in, I think 2020. I believe it was right when Jules came out with Pandemic. And so I had purchased Pandemic, but then I saw this one on her site, and so I downloaded it. And this is the one that I've been working on. With the goal of doing one thread a day. I will say that this month, out of 28 days, 23 threads were put in. So not 100% every day, but I got really close. And I'll show you my progress. This is on such a big piece of linen. And I've already cut it down. I started with a fat half. This is a Lakeside linen, and it is vintage pecan butter. And I got a new board, Lori Holt's quilt design boards, and so it should be easier to be able to show you some of these things. And I'm stepping back so you can see, hopefully in its entirety. I feel like I'm making some good progress now. Really just setting my plan and trying to really stick with it. And so far, for, you know, the second month anyway of the year, I'm doing pretty good. So all of this was done. Extended this line out. I added some more letters, did the X and the Y, finished this up here, added this tiny little motif. Now I'm going to come in so you can see that detail a little bit better. Really, really love this. It is, I am using a Gentle Art thread current, which has just, let me see if you can, I don't know if you can see that modeling in there. If you've not had this thread, it's a beautiful thread. It's goes from like a deep red to a really deep wine or burgundy color. Anyway, it's just beautiful. So the modeling in the design is very subtle. Anyway, I really love it, and I'm very happy that I'm pushing myself to make sure that I do my one thread a day, which, you know, sometimes I don't, and then I get a little frustrated with myself because it's not that hard, and it's about 10 minutes. Okay, the next one that I have to show you is my Friday night stitch, and there's a group of us who stitch. We all go to Hawk Run Hollow on Fridays, and I am stitching shores for the first 6 months of this year, and then in July I will switch to autumn. But I needed to finish block 3, and I did. I finished block 3. So I'm very happy with that. And I got a start over here on block 4. Some outlining, you can see. And I am stitching this on, let's see if we can get up a little close. You can see all 3 blocks that are done so far. I'm stitching this on Fiber on a Whim's Old Gold. And it's a 40 count. Using the NPI silks that are called for. So I was very happy to get all that lacy work done in the corners. That house was a booger, just saying. I mean, it was really easy to make mistakes on that house, and I did on more occasions than I was happy about. But it is done, and block 4 is a lot of words and a moon, so it should actually go fairly easy. And then my blocks are in this thing. Essentially 12. You've got this middle one, which is a double block, but it'll be a third of the way through. There you go. Some progress, some progress. My next SAL that I'm participating in, and I've had several of you message to say that you actually have joined in as well, and that is Humming in the Bees. And I had a good friend invite me to join the SAL, and I said, you bet. I already have this kitted up with the Vicki Clayton silks, which I'll show you. I put my little Vicki Clayton silks in this little box. That way all the bobbins stay in there flat, and the little paper is the conversion, so that you can look at this and you know what you're converting to pick it. And classic Blackbird. It's just beautiful. Love it. Love it, love it. And I will show you my progress. So I am a bottom right starter. And I was watching Nicole. It's lovely to see Nicole Neville from Nicole's Needlework put up a video this past week. It's been, I think it'd been like a year or maybe a little over a year since she had posted a stitching video, or maybe even any video. And if you're not watching Nicole, definitely jump over and watch her. And she said she was a bottom right starter as well. So there's a few of us out there, not many. So here's my progress. And we have assignments for this one. And I started on the assignment here, which was just a little bit here, and then went up and over. And then I went over to the next assignment for me and did all the way across here. And it actually divides here, but I went ahead and went all the way across so that I could get an idea of my spacing to make sure I was correct on my linen. And then I could chop that linen off. So I'm stitching this on 40 count Lucia from Tropical Stitches. And it's a really beautiful linen. The light makes it, that's probably what it kind of looks like. It's not, that modeling doesn't look quite as dark as when you punch it into the light there. But anyway, it's going to be beautiful. Very happy. Lisa, Fran already zipped right through. She avoided most of the assignments and just got it all done. And she posted her finished picture, and oh, it was beautiful. And it just keeps you inspired to keep on stitching. Keep on stitching. Okay. So the next thing that I did after doing my bees homework was pull out Happy Hearts, which was my piece for February that I had pulled when I was doing my plan. This is a whip. Again, another concentration on getting these whips done. This is from Birds of a Feather. And this is the Happy Hearts sampler. And put it up there a little bit closer. I love Birds of a Feather. It's a cool sampler, funky sampler. And I love it. And I really had hoped that today I would be able to show you a finish, and I got darn close. But no cigar, as they say. Here it is. I tried my best, but it's going to take me probably another day or so to finish. But I'm sticking with it. I'm not putting it away. I'm not going to pull it out next February when I'm so close. Because all I really have to do is the two hands that are here. I've got the cuff on one of the hands started. And then I have to finish filling in this block, this one, and this one. And then here it says busy hands make happy hearts or something like that. Yeah, busy hands make happy hearts. I don't think I'm going to say busy hands. To me, this is kind of a love sampler. It's all about happy hearts. You know, you've got the true heart and the birds. And, you know, I put in our initials here. My husband's Chris and I'm Chris. So, and then H, so C, H, and C. And down here is the year that we were born, because he's just 2 days older than me. And then our C and C here. So I think I'm going to put the year we were married, which is 1986. We're getting ready to have our 39th anniversary this month, actually, the 28th. And so I think I'm going to put happy hearts, and I may split the date. I may put 19 and happy hearts and 86 over here, something like that. So anyway, I'm stitching this on 40 count Old Massachusetts from the Primitive Hare. And I'm very happy with how it's turning out. It's just a joy. There's a lot of stitches in this. When I had pulled it back out this year, I think I had only done like to about right here. I had definitely this heart, and I think I had part of the little flower thingy here. And this was just a few letters across, and I was in the middle of this third row, and I think I only had like 2 of the hearts here. So I had a lot to do to get it going, but I'm going to finish it and then be very happy to have another whip off of the list. So it's going to infringe on my March just a hair, but that's okay. It's going to get finished, and that's what I'm very happy about. And then I've got a year to, well, that one's probably just going to get framed and go right up. It's not going to be one that I pull out seasonally. I'm going to keep it up all the time. So I worked on that, and here's the thing. The week of the 16th, it got really, really cold here, and we had more snow. In Kansas City, we just don't generally have that extreme cold. And our normal, I think they were saying on our news that our average snowfall in a winter is maybe 12 to 13 inches. We had like 30, 31. So we've had a lot of snow, and it has been stinking cold. I mean, we set 5 or 6 records for record lows in February, and we just don't do that. The week of the 16th, Monday, I think I pulled out, Happy Hearts. I was working on it. I was just freezing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going up. I'm getting a crochet project. I'm halfway through a blanket that's called From the Middle Out. So you do it in a great big round style. And I ended up for 3 nights working on the crochet and got, I think 3, maybe 4 rounds put on, which is a lot of crocheting, especially as you get further and further out, you know, because you're more and more stitches to get, you know, to get all the way around the round. And I could just keep it on my lap and stay warm. So I would have had Happy Hearts finished had I not pulled out some crochet. But you know what? I actually, sometimes you need a little break, or you need a little interjection of something else. So then on that Friday, when it came time to join my friends in Hawk Run, I was okay to pull out shores, and I was good, you know, even though I know I hadn't really stitched all week for the most part. But it's okay. I was kind of re-energized, and the temperatures weren't so ungodly cold. And but it's nice when you're working on a blankie. So, and I should have brought my blanket, the Afghan, up here to show you, but next time I'll show. It's still downstairs. I was gathering up my cross stitch stuff and totally forgot that I could have shown you that as well. On the 25th, I am working on a Christmas project. And so I started this on Christmas Day this past year, 2024. Noel Sampler. It's a classic. I know you've seen it a lot, but it's so pretty. This is by Brenda Gervais of the With Thy Needle and Thread. And so I'm working on this on the 25th of each month. Don't know that I'll have it finished, but I could. I was looking at the progress that I would need to do to have this thing finished this year. And I actually think I can do it because it's not super dense stitching. Anyway, so last month, what I had done on the 25th was this basket. And this month, I did everything over the border I had done in December. So all of this I did this time on the 25th in February. So there's my progress. You can kind of, well, you really have to play with the light, don't you, to get you to see it. When you go up close, it kind of takes out some of that detail. But it's really beautiful. I'm stitching this on 40 count. It's a Wabi Sabi linen from Shakespeare's Peddler, and I believe it's called Sugar Cookie. And I'm using the DMC threads. So that's it. That's all of the cross stitching that I did. I did not pull out my dwelling place because I got on a roll with Happy Hearts and just was really going for the finish. So I have to catch up on dwelling place this month, or maybe next month. We'll see. But that's, you know, that's what it is. And I did not pull out Winter Moon. So I have to figure out when I'm going to work on Winter Moon because I don't want to stop progress. Paulette was going to put out the Autumn Moon at market, but this year she said she didn't get it done. So it's actually pushed now until maybe midsummer, mid to late summer, she said. So, you know, kind of gives me a little bit of extra time to get that Winter Moon finished. But I do want to get it finished so I don't have it out of the rotation. I just wanted to get Happy Hearts done. And you know, you only got 28 days in February, so I feel like I got cheated out of 2 or 3 days of stitching. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it, all right? Okay, let's see. Flips and finishes. Let me show you, since we just switched into March, just a few things. I don't have a tremendous amount of what you would call St. Patty's Day, you know, stitching, but I do have a couple of things, and I thought I would show those to you. This is from Pineberry Lane, and this, I can't remember the name of the chart, but this chart has 3 or 4 designs maybe. And so I stitched this a couple of years ago and just mounted it on a little piece of board and added some tiny rickrack and then some bigger pink rickrack behind it. And then I bought this, I don't know, either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I'm looking on the back, but, or who knows, maybe it was Walmart even. I'm not sure. But anyway, I bought this and just mounted the whole thing right onto it. And it has its little hanger. And I just think it's so cute. Green's my favorite color, so you would think I would have tons of St. Patty's stitching, but you know, you don't leave it out for super long, and sometimes, some months, or some years in March, you also have Easter. So anyway, so I've got a few things. This is a pillow that I did, oh golly, forever and ever ago. I think I had stitched this guy. This is out of like a seasonal celebrations book from either Leisure Arts or Dimensions or one of those from, I don't know, early 2000s probably. Anyway, so I stitched this forever ago and finally finished it maybe 5 or 6 years ago and just made a pillow out of it. So it's cute. And out of that same book, I had stitched this Irish Blessing. And it says, may the Lord keep you in his hand and never close his fist too tight. And I think it's just done on like some 28 or 32 count flax, again, stitched forever ago. And honestly, it was just kind of slapped into this frame. I really need to look for a good frame and actually pin it, stretch it, and reframe it. But for now, that's what I have. So for March, though, I do have a St. Patty's whip that I need to finish up, and that'll be a small. And I'll show that to you real quick because it kind of falls into my March plans. And I have my St. Patty's project bag, which was made by Stitch in Peace, P-E-A-C-E, Stitch in Peace. And it's, I'm going to just do this real quick because I have the chart right there. This is an Emily Call pattern, and I just, you know, downloaded it from her site, so there's not really a cover. And it's actually almost finished. I don't know why I stopped when I did, but anyway, this one's called Leaps. And there it is, stitched on, I believe, a 36 count flax. Boy. Well, that's the color of the linen. But then, of course, you can't see the design. And he's just a little lucky leprechaun jumping around. The only thing I have to do is I got to finish this cloud. I think there's another little cloud right here. And then this is a hill. So I got to stitch in the hill. And then I'll have that little guy too. So I'll add him to the St. Patty's stuff and go from there. So that is on the plan for this month as my small. Switching over here to March. And if you have followed me or watched my channel before, you know that I wanted to do sampler spring instead of sampler September, because in September I just want to stitch fall, all the fall. So March is kicking off my sampler spring, and I'm went to my whips, pulling out some whips because I've got plenty. I'm focusing on finishing these puppies, and this is an old one from Handwork, which is Mary Riggs. Yeah, because she actually signed this one. It's an English reproduction. It's called the Eliza Hills Sampler. You see that? And it's a beautiful little sampler. It's not super big. And this was part of, it's 152 by 160, but this was part of the estate that I had the privilege of receiving the stitching stuff from a lady in Iowa who had passed away. Her sister got in contact with me and asked if I'd be interested, and I definitely was. And this chart was in that. And I started this last year sometime, at the beginning of the year, I think. And this is my start on it. I did do the border, which I don't normally do, but this time I did do the border and have a small start in the corner. So I would love to put a lot of work on this one. I don't know exactly how much. I haven't planned out my days yet, because once I get the Happy Hearts sampler finished, then I'll figure that out. I may just do a week. I'm not sure. We'll see. If I'm cruising along, I may go, even further, because it isn't a huge sampler. And I was looking for my project card. I don't even know what I did with the project bag that it was in. The next sampler, now mind you, I still have to do dwelling place, so it may get a week in there. So I'll have to catch up, and I'd love to just have that one completely done. But the next one that I'm anxious to get some good progress on is the lovely Jane Cowie from the Scarlet House. I remember seeing this model when I walked into Tanya's room at Market a few years ago, and I was just absolutely blown away. Loved it. This came out in March of 2020, right before we all left Market to come home and discover there was no toilet paper. So, a lovely Jane Cowie. Stitching it with the MPI Silks. This is where I am. And I'm stitching this on 36 count. This is a linen from my friend Jay's X Stitch. She's in Australia. Jay and her daughter. Gorgeous. Isn't that gorgeous? So I definitely want to get this back to work and get on this one as well. I am looking at potentially changing the wording in here. There's a beautiful E. Cummings poem that I'm thinking of putting in there. So we'll see. I'll do everything else and do that last, because I'll have to make sure it fits. But that's Jane Cowie. The next little thing, if I decide in April or maybe in March that I have time to maybe zip out another quick little finish on a whip, as I did pull this one, Spring Parade Set 1, and this is from Leela's Studio, and I have this guy started. I love these. When I went into her room at Market a couple years ago, 2022, when she had these, I loved them. I was like, oh my gosh, that just reminds me of like when we were little and there were like little carnival rides that you could get in the cars and go around the circle, right? This is what it reminded me of. And so I did do a start. Let me show you. I'm stitching these on 40 count paper bark, and I'm going to hold this tight because this is a half yard, because I kind of wanted to do them all on the same linen, and I'll decide afterwards if I'm going to cut them apart or not. But and then inside, folded inside here are all the DMCs, so I don't want to let go because they're going to go everywhere. But here's my start on the little carrot car. So I could potentially, get a whim and decide I need to do some little something, and so that's another whip. But my thing is, I'm trying to confine myself, if you want to say that, to getting whips done. I get very excited sometimes when, and you probably do too, when you see a lot of these new things coming out and you're just like, oh, I want to stitch that, But then I look at my whip list again, or I go to project bags and I'm like, I have no right, so to speak, to be starting a bunch of new stuff. I love the things that I've started. I started them for that reason. So gonna try to finish. Wish me luck. Okay, so woo. Just kind of looking through. my list. And so my March plans, you saw that. I'll have to finish Happy Hearts. I'll continue with my thread a day from Paradigm Found. I will do my assignments for Humming of the Bees and Dwelling Place. On the 25th, I will work on the Noel sampler. And I'm hoping, because in March, this month in March, my daughter's due with her third baby on the 14th. And on the 22nd, we are flying over to Italy and to hopefully snuggle a new grandbaby. And back on April 2nd. So the last, 10 days while we're there, I'm hoping to get some stitching in. Don't know how much I'll get in. Depends on granddaughters that are 4 and 2, Alaska and Diana. And, how much we're doing to, to help Britt and whatever. So, I'm hoping to get some stitching in, but, I'm not 100% counting on it, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so that's the plans for March. Now, March also brings market, which we talked about. You know what, though, what I'm going to do? I'm going to give away this sign. I suffer from MPD, multiple project disorder. There was a very strong reaction to this, and everybody seemed to love it. And I absolutely loved reading through the comments and seeing all the different types of projects that you have or that you work on, crafts that you do. Some of the comments just absolutely cracked me up. They were really funny. Anyway, my husband saw these when we were out junking, antiquing, whatever you want to call it. And there were 2 of them, so he was like, oh, you need this. This is for you. And so there was a second one. He said, you should give this one away, on your channel. And I was like, oh, good idea. So I'm giving it away. And thank you so much for all of the comments and everything. But the winner, when I did the little random thing, was Nola McNeely, 7857. 7857, Nola McNeely. And Nola said she was on a rainy day in her home state, watching the channel and saw this, and then she gave, all the things that she works on, and it was a great response. So I was happy to see her handled. Maybe her name is Nola. Her name might be Nola McNeely, but it's Nola McNeely 7857. So if you are watching, please email me. I'll have my email address in the description box below. And I'll need your mailing address so that I can get this right out to you. So thank you. Thank you again to everyone who participated in that. And congratulations to Nola. Okay. So what's the market plan? Adam and I have been kind of putting our heads together. We've done some different things for this year to be even more organized. We've created room sheets so that we have everything that we need from each of the designers' rooms that I want for both the shop and for those customers who have reached out to me to ask if I would shop for them. And so we're getting much more organized, and I think it'll work really well. We have to really kind of get in and get out. Market runs through Sunday. We usually leave, mid-morning on Sunday, something like that, to come back. I'm not going to do that this year. If we can finish through Saturday, we're going to finish and take off and come home. If we don't think we can, because it's an 8-hour drive, where we can not be driving until 2 in the morning and be exhausted, then we'll have everything ready to go, loaded, and all we'll have to do is get up super early on Sunday morning and get right in the car and go to get back. I'm only going to have 10 or 11 days from the time I get back until we leave for Italy. I will not be closing the shop, though, while I'm in Italy. Adam will keep it running, and he did really well when we did that in November. Now, what I did do was I shut the linen off. This year, depending upon how things are go, I'm going to actually try to pre-cut some of the linen so that I can keep the new market linens available to you. So we'll see how that goes. I've already created, gosh, I don't know, it's like 159 listings for new items already ready to go. And so our goal is, as we pick up all of our items, we will take that sheet, we will mark it off at once we've counted and verified that we have what we ordered and paid for, and all we have to do is activate that listing. So on Friday evening, potentially super early Saturday morning, the shop will open, and it will open with everything that we have in hand. And it will continue, you'll continue to see those listings become active. I think that's going to work really well. And like I said, we're going to have to really be on our game and moving. But I did want to ask, what do you look forward to from market? Or do you just look forward to just seeing the creativity of the designers, kind of all landing at once? Or have you seen anything that you absolutely love that knocked your socks off? I'm going to share a few of my market favorites at the end of the video here. And there are a couple that I really love. The market exclusive called Joy from Shakespeare's Peddler. I think that's beautiful. And it's got a limited edition Gentle Art thread pack. It's like 6 threads. 3 will be limited edition, and 3 from the existing line that they're going to have available as well. So I'm going to be Johnny on the spot to the Gentle Art room to get some of those thread packs because you couldn't pre-order. But I love that one. Kathy Barrick knocked it out of the ballpark, in my opinion, with velvet to linen. And she did some antiquing or flea marketing, and I think she was at Ivy Hall Antiques, which I have been to. It's a cool antique place. And my husband actually bought me 3 or 4 samplers. It's in Pennsylvania last year from Ivy Hall. And so she was up there and she saw some theorems, some paintings on velvet, and she saw hers that she's calling velvet to linen, and knew as soon as she saw it that she needed to do it for cross stitch, and it's gorgeous. So there's already some plans in works to start and stitch that one. Of course, Blackbird, she's got a couple of releases. They were previously released at the Coulter Station retreat last year. And so now that's going to coming out to everybody. I think the crackers from Stacey Nash are just adorable and cute. I haven't really ever stitched one. Nothing's pushed me over the edge until I saw Lily. I'm a frog collector, and when I saw Lily, her frog, I was like, okay, I got to be stitching that one. So I definitely will pull one of those for myself to stitch. But other than that, it's hard when you're a shop owner because you're looking at it from your own perspective, but you're also looking at it from the perspective of all of you, right? Everybody who loves to stitch, and you may love to stitch what I love, or you may not, and I may, everybody has their own style, their own aesthetic and design, and so I have to be thinking, through a little bit different lens. And sometimes after there's 147 exhibitors, and after you've looked at, so many designs, some of the designers are bringing 10 and 11 releases. Some are only having 2 or 3, but you're looking at a lot of new designs, and it can get a little overwhelming. But it's fun. But I'd love if you'd want to put in the comments what you'd love to, what you'd love to see, what's your favorite thing from market. We're going to desperately try to maybe create some little little video shorts in some of the rooms, and post those really quickly so that you can see what's happening. We may do that through YouTube. We may do that through Instagram. I'm not sure. But if you're not following me on Instagram, I have 2. I have my personal, which is McMama Hollis, but I also have my shop Instagram, which is Hollis Hands Create. So, be looking for those. And let's see. So the plan for this week, if you're shopping, is I'm going to close the shop late tonight. We'll reopen, like I said, on Friday evening once we start to have all these items in hand. And we'll begin to start shipping on Monday or Tuesday. If we come back on Saturday night, we'll start shipping on Monday. And if we don't come back until Sunday afternoon, then we'll start shipping on Tuesday. So got to get these things, you know, out and hot little items into everybody's hands. Okay. Have I covered everything? I think that's everything on my list. I got some more work to do this afternoon, so, but I wanted to jump on here, give you my February recap, because I really don't want to get behind again this year. And, I think, oh, just a couple of things. I got a new bag. Starryowlstitching, Tara, my favorite. She's like the best bag maker. She sells her bags every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And gorgeous. Love it. Love it. Love it. Anyway, I love this fabric line. And so when she posted this, I was like, another bag. But, you know, I got to have it. I did download the freebie, the 2025 anniversary token from Hands On Design, which was this. Oh, I really love that. And so you can go to the Hands On Design website, Kathy Haberman, and this is a freebie. And she gives you, you know, everything to do the template, to make it into a heart, and it's really sweet. So I did download that. And then I did pick, excuse me, add one design to my stash, and this was from Erin Elizabeth. Change is Beautiful. And I thought that was just a really lovely autumnal design. And I think, I'm looking to see, I think this is a recent release too. So, stitched on 36 count Bayou by Atomic Ranch, but I know I've got some linen that will look gorgeous on. I got a ton of linen stashed. That's another thing, is I'm trying to make sure I'm picking linens out of my stash as much as possible. But anyway, so I got that one. That's all I added to my my stash this time. And I hope everybody is excited about market. I hope you're just thrilled with the fact that winter is getting to the end. They say we have 10 seasons here in Kansas City. We're in our 4th season, which is Spring of Deception, which means we have one more winter finishes, I think is what they call the next one. And then we get into true spring. So hopefully we have a non-tornadic spring, but you never know when you live in this area of the country. Tornadoes are kind of part and parcel. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The weather's kind of crazy. It was Friday. It was 71 and sunny and beautiful. Yesterday it was 38 and it was kind of sunny, but it was cold and very brisk. The wind was really howling. Today we're back up to 60. So tomorrow's supposed to be rain. So there we go. Thanks. I didn't know if you needed that weather report, but you got it. And thank you so much. Feel free to please comment and tell me what you're looking for at market. And remember to create every day. Thank you for being here, and I super appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye now.